Hello, this is Tim. I've been your instructor for the last 10 or 13 weeks, and I wanted to go over just one more objective that I try to help all my students with before we leave. This isn't necessarily an IT-based topic, but it's probably one of the most important things that you'll learn being one of my students or somebody that I mentor. So I call this Tim's Tips in Life. It's 30 years of things that I've learned either the hard way or heard about, and I'm going to share them with you. And basically it's financial tips and ways to make yourself financially independent. All right, in life, where's all your money going to go? Most people don't realize it, but most of your money, over 50%, is going to go to taxes and fees. All right, what exactly is a fee? A fee is another name, fancy name for a tax. Tolls or fees, registration fees, buying a home fees, points on a sale of a home, those are nothing more than taxes. So 50% of any money that you're going to earn is going to go to fees. It's kind of sad, or 50% is going to go to either fees or taxes, excuse me. All right. Some ways you can get around this. First thing is I want you, no matter how old you are, I want you to start participating in your 401k. Hopefully I've caught you young enough that you can withdraw before tax dollars out of your paycheck, and then your company's going to normally do what's called a match. All right. Most cases, like in my case where I work, they have a 4% maximum that you can have withdrawn that they will match, and they will match that at 50%. So if I'm having them subtract 4% of my base pay, they put in 2%, so I'm automatically saving 6% every week, and it's kind of nice. Initially, it doesn't seem like a lot, but after you've been doing this for 20 or 30 years, it can definitely add up. And then what I do is I get mine normally in stocks, and then I've accumulated enough now that once a quarter when we get dividends, I have that rolled over into stocks, so it's starting to turn into a nice little batch of money for me. So I have a theory about the money that you have taken out of your paycheck if you have it deducted for a 401k. Basically, if you don't have it, you won't spend it. So it's a great way to save money. And last but not least, if you ever really do have a real emergency, you can always cash it in, but the unfortunate side of things is Uncle Sam's going to be there with his hand holding out, and he's going to want some of that money in taxes. So you got to keep that in mind. But it's a great thing. Most 401ks transfer to company, and you're protected, so it's a great way to save money. Now, your credit rating. A lot of times students ask me, well, what's a credit rating? That's normally a scale between 500 and 820. It's based on how well you've paid back any credit that you've had in the past. It's also based on how much open credit that you have. Like, let's say you have a $20,000 cap on your credit card and you only have $2,000 that you've used. That means you have an $18,000 open credit line. They look at that because it tells them that you know how to manage credit. All right. They also look at historical data, including public records. They do have access to find out if you have multiple speeding tickets on Colonial Avenue or you've been in multiple wrecks. They take that into consideration because you're an at-risk person then, so they figure that if you're maybe a bad driver or whatever the case is, that you probably are going to be a little bit higher risk in lending money. They're going to look at your job history, and they're going to look at your purchasing history. Now, hopefully by now you've learned that a credit union is a nonprofit organization where banks are here to make money. All right, so I got a little bit better financially off in life when I joined a credit union and got rid of the bank. Every time I turned around, they were charging me one of those fees for something. All right, so I went with a credit union, and as soon as I did that, I started noticing that I was getting a little bit more financially independent. All right, credit unions give you a better rate. They give you better service. They're nonprofit, and one of the things I've learned is that every penny that you pinch is a penny that you save. So you're not going to save money overnight. It takes a lifetime to save money, but you need to start learning to be frugal. All right, banks have the advantage over you because they have the access to your spending habits. They have access to your trends. They know that you need their services. So what they do is they get you hooked early in life. They give you a credit card with a $500 limit or a $1,000 limit. They try to get you hooked. Okay, and they come to your campuses, they get you hooked on the credit card, and then you just start figuring into your budget that so much of your pay is going to go to paying their fees and paying their charges. All right, it's a bad way to do business because the banks don't care about you. They only care about your money. All right, the trick to being financially free, it's called the 70-10-10-10 plan. All right, the first step, learn to live on 70% of your total income. If you need more money to live on 70%, then work 2 jobs. It's a lot easier to work 2 jobs when you're younger in life than it is when you're older in life. All right, as you get older, your health is going to change, and we're going to talk a lot about health in a couple minutes. But don't get in a situation where you have to work 2 jobs. That means you've overextended yourself. Okay, so Learn to live on 70%. Then first 10%, we have 3 groups of 10%. The first 10% goes into a savings account. All right, it just sits there. The second 10% is your emergency fund. Do not touch it. Now let's talk about what an emergency fund is. You're on your way to school today and your tranny drops out in your car and it's dragging down the road behind you as you pull over to the side. Okay, that's an emergency. That new Apple iPhone that came out last week, all right, that is not an emergency. You don't need that. The marketing companies and all your peers, they have one, but you don't really need it. So you can't use your emergency fund for the new iPod, but you can use it to fix your wheels to get to school and get to work. All right, the last 10%, give it to charity. It's a known fact that everyone needs help at least 3 times in life. Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, myself, we've all needed help at some point or another. Now, you're going to say, wow, I'm not going to give 10% of my pay away because I'm a college student. That's okay. I'll let you waiver this. All right? Instead of giving your money away, go down and donate some blood, especially if you're O positive. O positive is a universal donor blood. It doesn't need to be typed, or the accident victim or the emergency room victim at the hospital doesn't need to be typed. They can take O negative blood. All right, so the blood banks especially need O negative, but the blood banks always need blood. So for your 10%, go in every 8 weeks and give a pint of blood. It's very easy to do. It's very healthy to do. There's no risk involved. They take very good care of you, and a lot of times they'll give you coupons or they'll give you a shirt or whatever the heck. So it's a great thing to do for your community. The other thing I'll let you do is I'll let you volunteer. We'll talk about volunteering a little bit later on. Keep in mind that inside the game of life, there is nothing that is really free. All right, and if you notice here, I had to put this in because we're going to start leading into the health part, but if you notice, Fruit Loops does not have a UI in it. It has 2 O's. There's absolutely nothing fruity in Fruit Loops. Okay, that being said, let's talk about our health. A large portion of your money is going to go to medical care. What you do now in life, young in life, is going to affect your wallet later on in life. So it's important you start taking care of yourself. Okay? Join a church. I don't care which one, just do it. People who have faith are normally more settled and balanced in life. Plus, it's a great networking opportunity. Churches have very strong people-based communities, and it's a great place to go to, and just keep your ear to the wall. It's a great place to make contacts, network, and possibly get a better paying job. All right, donating time. Learn to volunteer. It's a great networking opportunity. It's fun. It's a learning experience. You're going to get a chance to practice leadership, and it's good for your community. All these things will make you a better person in life. And keep in mind that you get out of something what you put into something. So in other words, you get out of life what you put into life. So it's important that you contribute to your community and contribute to your lifestyle. All right, if you haven't found one yet, find a mentor. All right, a mentor is a non-family member that you can go to and discuss your personal problems with, discuss your professional problems with, get some advice for them. All right, and then after you've done this for a few years and you get to be in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, be a mentor to somebody else. All right, throw it on the table and mentor other people, because people always need somebody to turn to talk to. Time management. This is the worst category of all for college students and just about anybody. All right. Learn to make lists, learn to make checklists, get up early, don't be sleeping in and oversleeping. And I'm a hypocrite if I tell you not to party, but save the partying for the weekends. Have a good time, learn to have a good time, because everybody needs some time off. All right, the boob tube. What I'm referring to there, as everybody's giggling, is the TV. Did you know that in 1 hour of TV programming, there's 22 to 23 minutes of commercials? All right, if you're going to watch the boob tube, then TiVo it and cut out the commercials. It'll save you a lot of time. Learn to prioritize and organize, and learn to do things now. In fact, let's do all of these things now. Dining out. Man, I love to eat out. Love to eat at Red Lobster. Love to eat at Olive Garden. Love to eat at Pita Pit. Right? Even now and then I like to eat at McDonald's. Okay? But you got to learn to limit it. It does affect your health, especially later on in life, and in the long run it ends up being expensive. That convenience that you get to having somebody serve you comes at a cost. All right? My wife and I, we can go out to Red Lobster. We can have a $50 dinner at Red Lobster and have somebody else serve us, or I can go to the fish place, I can buy fresh lobster, fresh fish, cook it on my grill, and it costs me about $20, $25 for the same dinner. All right? Sure, I have to make it myself. Sure, I have to do my own dinners. Do my own dishes. But you know what? I can do it twice a month, vice once a month doing it that way. Okay, now where's all your money going to go in life? I can tell you. It's going to go to the banks. Number 2, it's going to go to your home. Number 3, it's going to go to cars. Number 4, it's going to go to your education. All right, now let me show you why. Buying a home, there's 3 things you got to take into consideration. 1 is points. So you know what points are? I know most of you probably haven't had points explained to you. Points is another fancy name for those fees that I talked about, okay? And points can be 1, 2, 3%, 4% of the closing costs of a home or the selling price of a home. Points are normally negotiable. They're normally paid by the seller, all right? So pay attention to that on your contract. Coming from a family that did real estate for 35 years, you have to pay attention to a couple things. Pay attention to the points, pay attention to the interest rate of the loan that you're getting, and pay attention to the down payment. Now I'm going to give you a couple samples that people don't realize, and I want you to think about something here. If you were going to borrow $200,000 for your dream home, for you and your spouse, how at 5% or 5.7% interest, again, it's $200,000 at 5.7% interest, how much money are you going to pay back to the bank over 30 years? So think about that. $200,000, 5.7% over 30 years. I'm going to show you. There's a $200,000, 30 years, 5.7%. You're going to pay back $417,889. $217,889 is going to be money that goes to your bank. Okay, now let me show you how that works. The first month, we bought our home today. The first month, we cut a check to the bank for $1,160. $950 of it went to interest. That's money that went straight to the bank. $210 went to how much I owed the bank, which was $200,000. So we subtract that out. All right. At the end of month one, I owe $199,789.20. Okay. The next month, my interest is calculated off of that month. So on month two, I go and I pay $1,160. $949 goes to the bank in interest. $211 goes to my principal. So after 2 months, I still owe $199,577. Now let's go down here to a year. All right, at a year, I'm still paying $938 in interest, and only $222 is applied to my principal. And if you look, right, remember up here I borrowed $200,000. I still owe, after 12 payments, $197,403. A lot of change. Now, if you recall, this was at what was it at? 5.7%. Let's take a look at what happens at 5.2%. So right here's my 5.2%. Right here's my 200,000. All right, I'm going to pay back 395,000 and some change. All right, I'm only giving the bank 195,000. So that's where that good credit score comes into place. All right, I saved 0.5% over 30 years, but it ends up being around $22,000 that I save. Okay. Now here I use an example where if I save that money that we were saving, one of the 10% that we were saving, I save up 20 grand. Okay, that affects how much I pay back too. In fact, that really makes a big change in how much I pay back, because I'm only borrowing 180,000. And then look here at how much my monthly payment is. All right, my monthly payment is less. So that's some of the things that you want to look at. Now I have this picture here to prove a point. A lot of the money that you spend in life is going to go to your home. All right, there's no getting around it.